How about yourself?
I'm good. It's been a little while since we've seen each other.
I know it's wild how fast time flies, right? It's
I,
just
I know, really, it's crazy. Have you had a good summer and good fall so far?
so far some major life changes, but other than that, it's good. Good
Yeah,
changes. Yeah.
good. Well, that's good. Well, that's good. Well, go ahead and tell everybody where you're from and how old you are.
Okay. So my name is Sory Rivera, but you can call me Sory. And I'm 36 years old. I have SMA type 3, and I live in Tyler, Texas. Originally from South Texas, but I've lived here pretty much my entire life in Tyler.
Wow. So yeah, you're not too far from me. I think we talked about that.
Yeah, we need to get
But
together. We're not that far.
I know it's not. I think it's only like an hour or so.
Where are
It's
you at exactly?
in DeRidder, Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
So it's like right on the like Texas line almost.
Oh, okay. We'll
Like
definitely have to check that
literally,
out.
if you go down the highway from my house, it takes like 15 minutes and you're almost to Texas. So
Nice, nice.
yeah, it's crazy. Well, that's good. And what type of SMA do you have?
So I have SMA type 3. Yeah,
Okay.
I have 3 copies of the SMN2 protein. So,
Okay. So for the people that don't know, can you tell us like what SMA type 3 is? Like how old were you when
mhm.
you were diagnosed and how did y'all figure it out?
So I met all the regular milestones that babies meet up until about I started walking around like 9 to 12 months. And my mom was noticing, and people around started noticing that I would walk and just kind of trip over my own feet or whatever. And so I started falling a lot. And then once after like a year or two of this, people really started bringing it up to my mom's attention because I think she was in denial that there was anything wrong with her baby girl. And I ended up she took me to Mexico to try on these like special shoes because she thought that if I got special shoes, they would help me walk better and I wouldn't be able to like I wouldn't fall as much. But it wasn't just falling, like I wasn't able to really get up either. So for a long time they thought I was just being spoiled because I was the baby girl of the family.
Uh-huh.
And my mom took me to Mexico to try on these shoes, and she realized that the shoemaker was like, "Ma'am, this is not a shoe problem. You need to take you need to take your daughter to the doctor." So she took me to the doctor, and I got diagnosed in 1990. So I was 3 years old when I got diagnosed.
Wow.
And back then, the prognosis wasn't very there wasn't a lot of like hope going around. And so they pretty much told my mom, like, enjoy your daughter. She'll be gone by the age of 7. So that was 30 years ago this year. So I'll be 37 in a few weeks. So yeah, I mean, doctors don't always know, right?
No, no. That's crazy. Yeah, they told my parents that too. Except for me with type 2, they told them 2 years old.
Mm.
I would only live till 2. So yeah, that's crazy.
And here we are.
I know, here we are. It's crazy. Well, have you always used a wheelchair or what?
Yeah, I got my first wheelchair in first grade. So when I was like in like preschool, kindergarten, I still kind of walked. Um,
Mhm.
but I didn't, I think and then in like kindergarten, like the second half of kindergarten, I got a wagon and kids would pull me around in the wagon. And then that's when I was in first grade, I got my first manual chair. And then later on, I got my first power chair. And I've been in a power chair ever since. And I do have a manual chair, but they're not very comfortable. So
Yeah, yeah. So do you have to have help pretty much with like transferring and all the daily needs and stuff?
Definitely. I'm pretty independent when it comes to like once I'm in my chair, I can pretty much, I take care of my hair and my makeup and my hygiene. But I'm also able to drive, but to be able to get to that point, I need help.
Yes.
Getting in and out of bed, getting dressed, getting undressed, showers, bathrooms. I pretty much need a physical a person to help me with all the physical aspects because I can't do any of that. So
Yes, yeah. Well, so do you drive or anything or no?
yeah, I do drive. I have a van that I drive. It's actually my second van because I totaled my first one in 2019. So that was a horrible experience, but it turned out to be a really good thing. The wreck, I broke my arm and totaled my van, but I was able to get a brand new van. For pretty
Well,
much it got covered by Texas Workforce Commission vocational rehab, and then my insurance gave me like $55,000. So I was able to get a new, better van for nothing. So it was a big, big blessing. Um,
wow.
mhm.
Well, thank goodness you didn't get hurt worse than that, though.
Yeah, it was just a broken arm. I mean, it was hard because it's my right arm, which is my
Oh,
dominant arm. So I really wasn't able to do much for a long time. And then it took like 8 months to get a new van and stuff. But it was one of like the worst things that I thought could have ever happened to me, but it turned into one of the biggest blessings. It also kind of kickstarted my career to kind of go back to school and get my education. And so
mhm,
yeah, and now I have it, it's all set up for me to drive. It has like all electric controls. And I don't have like a driver's seat, but my driver's seat can also be sent like back and forth. So if I'm
mhm.
too tired to drive or just not able to drive, someone else can, like an able-bodied person can drive.
Yeah, Tim Jack, that's awesome. What kind
Hmm.
of van do you have? What
It
is it?
my baby is a 2019 Dodge Grand Caravan.
It's a caravan? Okay,
Yeah.
because
It's
I'm actually trying to get a new one, so I'm asking people.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
I honestly like my first van was a Chrysler, so it was in the same family. It was a 2011 Chrysler. And
Uh-huh,
so Dodge and Chrysler, the vans used to be exactly alike. I think they stopped making these model vehicles like
uh-huh.
in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, but I love it. I think I'm not like a car person, so I'm like go Dodge or go for
Yeah,
whatever, but I definitely like I love my Dodge, and it's again it's just the big I'm super grateful for the
yeah.
opportunity to have a van and just have that mobility.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, I'm actually gonna get a new one soon. Mine's getting old. It's over 10 years and
Mhm.
it's still good. It's still running and everything, but I have a lot of mileage on it. So actually speaking of vocational rehab, I just talked to them this week and thank goodness we have that available to us. 'Cause
Definitely.
I tell people all the time, they're like, "You need a new van, you need." I'm like, "You don't understand, like, our vans are like buying 2 vehicles at one time.
Yeah,
Cause
like, are you gonna give me I would love to get a new van. Would you give me the money for it?
yeah. I'm like,
But
"They're so like," I'm like, "The modifications cost as much as the vehicle almost,"
mhm.
So,
Yeah.
it's
What
yeah,
when I wrecked, my insurance company was like, "Well, we can give you $20,000." And I'm like, "That doesn't even begin to cover it."
no.
So I advocated for myself and fought, fought, fought. I ended up getting like the 55 from them. And then TWC helped me with 35,000. So the van was pretty much like, 80, $90,000 after
Wow.
everything was said and done because of the hand controls and all the modifications that they have to do for me to drive.
Right, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
so
sure
expensive.
it is. See, I don't drive mine, but I'm sure, yeah, that's even more expensive to get all that stuff done. So, wow. And by the way, I love you said you do your own hair and makeup, and I want to tell you, your hair and makeup always look fabulous.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So that's awesome. So hopefully you can keep doing that for a long time.
Definitely. As long as someone can help me wash it, I can. Once like that's something that I do need help with is like getting helping me wash it. And then there are times where I just cut like 5 or 6 inches off of it. But when
Mhm.
it's too long, I'm like, Mom, please help me untangle my hair because I just don't want to deal with all this hair right now. But
Y-
yeah, so now it's a little shorter, it's a little bit more manageable. I try to make sure that my haircuts are not super high maintenance. So
Yeah,
just be good.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, so tell us about your family. Do you have any brothers or sisters or?
I do. I have an older brother. He's 45. So he's like 9 years older than me. I won't
Uh-huh.
put his exact age out there. But
Yeah.
he's a Marine. He was in the Marines for 26 years. So he left when I was 9 and
Mhm.
he just got out last year. So he did a whole career in the Marines and now he's living in Waco, Texas. So
Okay.
um we've never really been super close, which I hate that, but we do love each other and we're there for each other whenever we need it. But yeah, he's
Yeah.
my only sibling. So I pretty much grew up like as an only child because he was gone.
Well, yeah, and the age difference too. Yeah. So, oh wow. So, do you know of anyone in your family who has SMA? Have you
Nope,
found anyone? No.
not at all. I tell people I just got lucky, I guess, like because my grandpa, so my mom's dad came to Mexico like I don't know, he was like a way older man and he escaped Spain to come to Mexico and that's where he met my grandma. So he was like in his 50s and my grandma was like 15 at the time. So we don't know any of that family.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't know I mean I could have some relatives in Spain that have SMA, but I've just never taken the time to just search for them either. So, but as far as like anyone in my mom's like immediate family or my dad's, like none of us, none, I'm the only one with SMA.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing
I
that
I think you
other
might be
people.
mute. I'm not sure. I
Oh,
can't.
can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is it
Something
frozen?
happened with the volume?
Oh, can you hear me? No? You can't hear?
I can't. Oh, I'm a silly goose.
No,
It's not you. It's me.
oh, it's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. I thought I put my phone. I do not. I turned the volume down. I'm such a
Oh,
goof.
no, that's okay.
I was
I
like, why can't I hear you?
no, that's fine. No, I've talked to so many different people, and there's a lot of people that don't know of anyone else in their families, you know? So,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm sure if we started doing all those DNA tests, I'm sure most of us would find someone down the line, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's crazy how it skips generations too, you know, the way genes work.
And
It's
then there's some families that have kids back to back with SMA.
mhm,
So it's just it's wild how how everybody's so similar but so different.
so different. I know. It's wild. I know. It's crazy. So you're in college right now.
Yes.
So
I
tell us about that. What do you
Okay, I decided to, so I got my bachelor's. It took me 13 years to get my associate's degree. So I
mhm,
graduated in 2006 and I went to school. I withdrew, I dropped out, I went back, I dropped out. I did that like 3 times. And so in 2020, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to school one more time. I had to kind of make a decision for voc rehab to help me with my van.
yeah.
So they were like, you can either go back to school or you can go back to work. And I was like, you know what? Let's try giving school one more chance.
Mhm,
So I decided to go back to school and as an adult, I loved it. I was like, I'm thriving at school. And so I got my associate's degree, and then I never thought I would have an associate's degree. And then I was like, well, since we already are here, let's try the bachelor's, right? And so I went and got my bachelor's degree. I graduated last year in April. I got a bachelor's in mass communication with a
Oh,
minor in graphic design, and my associate's degree is in public relations and advertising. And then so this year I took a year off from school, and I was like, I don't really know what to do with my life at this point, you know. I started applying for jobs and just was like kind of letting God guide me in a sense where I was like, I really don't know what to do with my life right now. And then I got accepted at UT Tyler for their the University of Texas at Tyler for their master's program.
uh,
And I had actually gotten accepted last year or like at the beginning of the semester. So my goal was to go back in the spring. But then things just started happening that I just wasn't able to commit. And so then recently, in August, I had a super major life change where my fiance and I of 9 years broke up. So that's a whole nother just shift to my life, you know. And so then 2 weeks later, I started the master's program. And it's been it's been yeah, it's stressful to say the least.
oh,
You know, trying to heal in this while going to school and having to write 50 million papers has not been easy. I also do a lot of traveling, and then like on top of that I have like sick dogs right now.
oh
And
no.
so currently in school, and I really want to be able to say that I can do it all. But I'm having to kind of make a decision as to whether I'm going to be able to finish the semester or not, just
Mhm.
because I'm trying to prioritize my health, my mental health and my physical health, with the
Yeah,
amount of stress that I'm under and the amount of attention that a master's program requires. I
yeah,
just don't know if I'm like emotionally in the right place right now. And
yeah,
so again, I'm just letting God guide that decision because I just really don't know what to do.
yeah.
I'm facing that decision, and then like I have a miniature poodle, and I've had him for 12 years, and he got diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and
Oh,
he's like slowly on the decline. And so
oh,
I'm really in a corner of like I have these two huge life decisions to make. Do I keep him do I keep my dog and keep him suffering, or do I just end his suffering and begin my suffering? Do I go back? Do I continue to stay in school and just go at hard and
mm,
sacrifice my mental and emotional health and physical health? So yeah, I'm in the middle of a lot right now where I'm just praying that I just have guidance and make the right decisions for my future.
yes. Well, that is a lot. I hate to hear that. It's hard. My little dog, I had a Bichon for 12 years, and she had kidney failure.
Mm,
And the vet was like, just take her home. And, she's like, some will last a few years and some will go really quickly.
mhm,
And unfortunately, she went kind of fast. She
I'm
wanted to stop eating. She wouldn't drink. My mom was having to like force liquids in her, like get a syringe and make her drink. And then finally one day we were like, we can't do this anymore, you know. It's not fair for her. And so we had to go have her put down, and it was awful because they're like
yeah.
part of your family, you know?
Yeah, he's my little shadow. He's like my best bud. Like his name is Buddy. He like follows
Oh,
me around everywhere. And
yeah.
he takes so much medication. I've been in 2014, like he started having seizures. So he's been on medication since then. And then when he got diagnosed, they put him on like he's on two blood pressure medicines, he's on a diuretic, and then he's like on a medicine that makes his heart pump faster or harder. And so I'm like, that's not fair that's not a quality of life for my little pooch, you know? And
Yeah.
I've never really had like we've put one other dog down, but he was like the family dog. He wasn't like my buddy, you know,
Yeah,
like, and
yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
just like, I'm super overly attached to him. I do have two other pets. So I have another, like, I have a long hair chihuahua,
Yeah,
and then I have a cat. And so I want him to just be around with me for as long as possible, but I also don't want to be selfish in that regard. Like you said, you know,
I know.
seeing him like that is more
I
painful, and he's not eating, he doesn't want treats, he's not even
know.
drinking water today. And so I'm just like, no, this isn't, it's not that it isn't fair, because I believe that it's just a part of life, you know, with any kind of, as long as you're alive, we're gonna have some kind of adversity,
I
and it's
know.
just how we learn to deal with it that
Well,
matters.
I will definitely pray for you because
Thank
I know
you. I need it.
that's
I definitely need it.
a lot to decide. Yeah, for sure. Well, now, do you live independently by yourself, or do you have someone who lives with you?
So I live with my mom. I
Okay.
live with my mom and her significant other.
Uh-huh.
Um, it was like the four of us, but whenever we broke up, he moved out. So it was now it's just my mom, her significant other, and our six pets.
Oh, mhm.
Yeah, so we're super busy all the time. But yeah, I have
Yeah.
like my own space in my house. I've moved out twice. I never moved out by myself,
Uh-huh.
but I always ended up coming back to my mom's house. Her and I get along really good. So I'm like, why am I gonna just
Yeah.
struggle when I could live, like, you know,
Yeah.
comfortably, and we can help each other out and just be
Oh,
there for each other, and I can still eat home cooked meals or
yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I live at home too, so I lived away, and it's hard. It's
Yeah,
really hard
it
because you
really is.
gotta depend on people for everything. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's really hard. Do you have caregivers? Speaking of, or no?
So I have my mom. My mom is my caregiver. She's my one
Mhm,
and only caregiver right now.
mhm,
Which is difficult, right? Because I think that she has already a lot on her plate, and then she's also in her 60s. So it's just, you know, it's getting a little harder as she's gotten older. And like I
mhm,
said, we have the six pets. And so I don't get that many hours a week from Medicaid. I think I get like 36 hours, which I'm blessed for, because I know some people get way less than that.
mhm,
But right now we're kind of in the transition of like, should we find someone else that can help bear, you know, carry the load pretty much, and
mhm,
give my mom a break. And I do have friends and family that come around and help me, you know, with some of the needs that I have. Or if my mom, you know, like a few weeks ago, she had a tooth taken out. And so one of my friends came over and like stayed the night with me for a few nights until she recovered. And so thankfully I have like a good support system of people that are helping me. But as far as caregiving goes, like, my mom is my only caregiver. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's how I am too. My mom helps me most of the time, and then, actually, I did have a caregiver for 4 years since
Mm.
COVID happened, and then recently my mom had to have a heart procedure done, and so, like you said, thank God, one of my best friends came, and she works from home, so she was able to come stay with me for, like, 2 weeks, to help while my mom recovered, and then one of my old caregivers who was with me for 6 years, she came to help some too because my friend was working. And then in the meantime, she decided to come back part time.
Oh, that's good.
And so that's been a big help. When she said she wanted to come back, I was like, well, that's fine. You tell me when and how much you can work. Because at this point, I'll take anything as long as it's good people and, you can trust them, and stuff like that. So,
That's the hard part. I think just like putting your trust in someone that they're going to be able to care for you properly and have your best interest in
y-
mind. I think I've
yeah.
had so many bad experiences with caregivers in the past that the
Mhm.
fact that I might need a new one, like, or someone that can work part-time, is just really terrifying.
I know. It is. It is, and especially when you live with other people, you have to think about them too, because you don't want these people in their way and
Mhm.
bothering it, so you gotta,
Yeah.
I know.
It's a transition. It's something that I mean, like I admire those young kids, those younger people, those younger SMAers that are off in college and just
Mhm,
like thriving and managing provider or like caregivers and stuff like that. Like I just never even thought that was an option when I was younger.
mhm,
So, and I've lived, like I said, I've lived away from home and it just made it really difficult for me and my mom. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's one of those things like I don't know what the future holds. None of us do, and I just pray that it's the best
I
case scenario.
I know, I know. Yeah, I know. That's why I tell everybody, I'm like, when you live on your own, it's like running a whole business.
Mm,
'Cause, you gotta interview constantly because their lives are changing and some have to leave and come, and it's not easy for sure.
mm-mm.
So, well, I know you like to travel, and I just saw, didn't you and your mom just go on a trip somewhere, I think?
Yeah, we went to Phoenix, Arizona,
Mhm,
and so I do public speaking.
mhm.
So I have a few events coming up as well. So it's a good experience because the trips are kind of exhausting and fast, but we get to see new places and experience new things. So it's kind of nice.
Oh, that's awesome. Who do you do public speaking with or for?
So I have like my own business called Sory Stories or Sory Speaks. Sorry. My hashtag is
Oh,
Sory Stories, but the business is Sory Speaks. So I contract with a third party and they kind of help me get these programs where I can go and just share my story with SMA and talk about mental health and traveling because to me mental health is a super important topic because I didn't talk about it for a long time and I didn't understand why I was the way I was until I was like, oh, that's anxiety. And
yeah,
so I think that a lot of people don't have that self-awareness. And, the more I can talk about it, the better I think, more, like you said, it spreads awareness.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, it's awesome. So, where do you go to speak? Like at schools or
so it's
where?
like they usually the third party does like contracts through like restaurants. So
Mhm.
we'll have like a dinner and like a roundtable discussion and just talk about different topics. But I also do I've for like 3 years in a row I've been speaking to physical therapy students at one of the colleges, one of the local colleges. So
Mhm.
they'll have like a DME day, durable medical equipment day, where they're learning about wheelchairs and all that stuff. And then they've asked me to come out and speak to their students just to kind of let them know like, hey, you might run into a patient like me, and let me tell you how physical therapy has been for me, and how if
Uh,
you work with kids, make sure to listen to them because I had some awful experiences as a kid with physical therapy.
yeah.
And so I also a few years in a row, I also got to speak at my school at UT Tyler. They had like a disability panel. They have like
Mhm.
this huge career day and they have like a panel with people with disabilities and they've asked me to speak there a few times. And yeah, just
Uh-huh.
a few schools here and there. I'm not doing it how I want to do it. My goal is to really expand my network.
Yeah,
But I think right now I'm pretty satisfied with how well it's going now. I just know that something, I just have a lot of hope for the future and that one day I'm going to be doing, what a lot of like the people that I admire do and
yeah.
like a lot of the people that I look up to do and like get to speak on a greater scale.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Have you met some of the people with SMA that do that? Like, what's his name? Is it Jose
Oh
or?
yeah, Jose. Yeah, he's totally my inspiration. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I really I admire him a lot and
Uh-huh.
his work and what he's doing and his confidence I think is
Mhm.
what stands out the most. And
Yeah.
I could only hope that one day I get to be like him. But I
I
know to get to where he's at, it took a lot of work. It took a lot
know.
of, blood, sweat, and tears. And so, I think you have to be willing to work hard on yourself to be able to get to
Yes.
that next level. So I look to all my SMAers for inspiration, and just, I think that our community is pretty we have a pretty good community, and we're all just kind of really supportive of each other. And yeah, Jose has kind of told me, like, he's just really shown belief in me, and that just means a lot. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember the night of the social. I remember y'all talked for a long time. I
yeah,
remember
yeah, he was
'cause
like, you need to get your butt in shape, girl. You need to get out
I
there and you need to do the work. And I was like, yes, I promise I'm gonna do
yeah, I remember that now
it.
that you say that, yeah, I remember y'all having that whole discussion.
Yeah,
So,
I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, I don't want to like disappoint him. So
yeah, oh, no, no.
that's
I know,
fun.
I didn't get to meet him. Like, we were by each other so many times, but I never formally got to meet him or anything, but, yeah, so one of these days, I guess I'll try and interview him, we'll see. Uh,
Yeah, it's just the Curious and May conferences, like the one in Austin was my second one. And it's so much, right? There's so many people, there's just everybody, you want to talk and meet everybody, but due to
no.
time constraints, like it's impossible. But yeah, he's a really awesome dude. I met him my first year in Florida.
Uh-huh.
So I've met a couple cool people through just Curious and May. And
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah. I
He's a
know.
cool dude. I recommend him. I recommend meeting him.
I know. I'll have to try and reach out to him maybe and see. I was like, I need to practice my skills. You could probably help me too.
Okay.
I love public relations and mass comm. I actually thought in college I had thought about majoring in that. And then for some reason I didn't. I went into education instead. But I mean, I love education too. I love teaching kids and all that. But I love both of them. I'm like, well, I guess I should have done both. But
Well, you're doing this now, so this is awesome. I mean, a
yes,
lot of this has to do, I was in journal, like I was going the route of journalism, but I just didn't really want to do that.
yeah,
But I wrote for my school's newspaper for about a year and a half, and so it was fun getting the experience.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, regardless, even if you didn't get that, you're doing a great job. I'm super proud of you for, like, again, just
Oh,
putting yourself
thank
out there. And I know it can
you.
be nerve-wracking,
Oh,
especially if
thank
it's live, right?
I
Live shows, you just
know,
never
I
know.
know, I know, I know. I had this idea at conference whenever I met the stream SMA people, and I was like, "What can I do?" And so I was asking them, and they're like, "Well, people play video games," and I'm like, "Well, I'm not really into all that." So I'm like, "What else can I do?" And then I thought of this. I was like, "Well, nobody really ever interviews other people." So
Mm.
anyway, so I just thought it'd be because I realized after the conference, like so many people that I've known forever that I thought knew a lot about SMA. But you realize they don't because I came home and they were all wanting to know about it. And I was like, yeah, these like they have babies who are walking. Yeah, and I tell them about all the different types and they just couldn't believe that. Like they didn't know all this. And I was like, yeah, we have to advocate more, and try and get all this out there so people know the differences and everything. So, but yeah, well, what besides traveling and speaking and do you have any other hobbies that you enjoy doing?
I love writing. I love writing. I spend most of my free time just journaling.
Mhm.
Just my thoughts. My goal is to write a book, and I'm like, I have enough journals to put into a book because I just again I think it's just been part of my mental health journey
Mhm.
to be able to put it on paper and just, I write about my struggles, my triumphs, my, my sad moments. I turn to journaling to help me make some of my biggest life decisions. I feel like it's a really good way to connect with myself,
Yes.
and so I just really love writing.
That's awesome. Well, that's really cool. Now, what about any life hacks or assistive technology that help make your life easier? I know we talked about your accessible van, but do you have any other things you use?
So I have kind of set up my house in a way where I can reach most of my things. Like I usually in the morning, like I'll make my own coffee and I just put everything on a table that's easy for me to reach. I've gotten like my coffee water maker is like it's like heat, like you can't feel the heat once the water boils. So it makes it a lot easier for me to grab and not have to burn myself. I have dog leashes on all my doors so I can close the doors behind me.
Mhm.
I don't, as far as like technology goes, I think that's as far as it goes. Like I have a potty slash shower chair and it's
Mhm.
like a PVC pipe chair. And I've had the same type chair. I've had different chairs, but I've had the same style for like, I think at least 20 years.
Mhm.
And so the brand is Anthros, I think, or something like that. And I always did, they let me order direct because I've been with them for so many years.
Mhm.
And so that kind of chair really is really helpful because it has like a commode bucket and it
Mhm.
has wheels. So and it, my mom will transfer me into it and roll me into my shower.
Mhm.
But yeah, just I just have learned to try to make things accommodating for me where I can just, my snacks are where I can reach them myself. I try to like anytime I need to eat something or want to eat something, I make sure that it's conveniently placed for me. And so
Mhm.
yeah, but my biggest thing is like we get dog leashes all the time when we board up our dogs. We get new dog leashes, so I just ended up with a bunch. And
Yeah.
I just gave a like two to my friend as well so they could use at their house. So yeah, the dog leashes are a big help.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. What about do you have any smart home things like Google or Alexas or any of that?
Yeah, thanks to Curious and May, I have an Alexa in like
Mhm.
my bedroom. I love it. I had never had one before. I always kind of considered getting one,
Mhm.
but thanks to their like adult packages, I was able to get my first one, and I pretty
Mhm.
much fell in love with it. And then that's for that same year, I'm like a YouTube Premium, like I pay for YouTube Premium. And so during COVID, YouTube or Google like gave away a bunch of Google Minis. So I have a Google Mini in this bedroom as well. And then I have Siri on my phone and they come in
It's
so handy. They're so handy.
Oh, I know, I know. Whenever we travel and I'm somewhere else, I'm like, I just need to bring them with me, like, cause but then you gotta set everything up, and it's kind of a pain. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know. I use mine for everything to turn the lights on and do all that stuff. So,
I
yeah.
also have an adjustable bed that like I probably should have gone the medical route, but I ended up going the route of like just paying money on it a little bit every month until hopefully one day it's finally mine. But
Mhm.
it's like a Tempur-Pedic bed, and so like the backrests come up and the footrests come up and it
Mhm.
vibrates. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And like that's like the hardest part about traveling is not being able to take my bed because I
Mhm.
can't sit up by myself, but the bed really helps me to be able to sit up and just, just be a little bit more comfortable. So
Yeah. Yeah, I have one of those too, and I love it. Yeah, it's definitely makes a difference to help. Now, speaking of that, can you like roll over yourself like at night or no? Yeah.
Not really. Like if I need to turn completely, I either have to call somebody to help me or I have to sit up in bed. I pretty much just lay in the same position all
Mhm.
night. Like I sleep on my right side and then, but I can kind of turn my torso if I like need to, if I need to like get off my arm for a little bit, I can turn my torso a little bit. And then, but as far as like rolling over and stuff like that, that's not something I can really do by myself.
Yeah, 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 me either. I didn't know because I know type threes are all different sometimes. So
Yeah, the fact that there's a lot of type threes that are so ambulatory, and I'm like, I don't know. I guess I must have missed that bus.
oh no, no, no. I bet some other ones too can't either. Um, they yeah, so well that's awesome that you have all of that. And are you on any treatment right now for SMA or
Yeah, I am. I've been on treatment since 2018. I got my first Spinraza injection
uh,
in on March 20th, 2018. I remember it because it's the first day of spring. So it's
mhm.
like it was like a new beginning, a new life pretty much.
Yeah.
And I've been on Spinraza since then. So I have to travel to Dallas every 4 months, which is like a 2.5, it's like a 2 hour drive,
Mhm.
just to get my shot, but it's worth it every time.
Yeah, yeah. Now, do they give it to you lumbar in your back or?
They do, yeah. So I do have scoliosis, so it's a little bit challenging for them, but I never got the rods. I opted out when I was 18. I got really scared and I was about to graduate high school and I was like, "No, I don't want to do that. I'm just really scared." So I never got the rods. And so yeah, they do the lumbar puncture, the lower lumbar puncture, and they do it with the fluoroscopy machine. So pretty much it's just a huge x-ray machine that's like live or, just taking pictures and guiding the doctor through my spine. And they do the lidocaine and everything, but it's still creepy.
It is,
Literally.
it is, I know. Well, that's awesome. You sit up so straight. That's great since you don't
Yeah,
have a
I have my backrest is a little bit back right now, so I'm just like trying to look a
yeah.
little bit more professional and put together.
No, but that's yeah, since you don't have a rod. And so I interviewed another girl though a few weeks ago and she doesn't have a rod either. She never got one either. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard it's a lot easier to do spin rounds without the rod than yeah. So
Yeah, it's not for everybody. I definitely think that it's a good thing that never in my lifetime did I ever think I would see one treatment for people with SMA. But the fact that there are multiple treatments now and more in the works, I think there's something for everybody. And so,
yes.
I'm gonna just get Spinraza until I can't get it anymore for whatever reason. I've heard, some stories about them not this, just different stories of different reactions to people. But, I'm like, if it ain't broke, why fix it? If I've like one thing is working for you, just keep doing that. So
Yes, for sure. Yes. I know. And everybody's so different. Like some people, yeah, have so much trouble getting it and they say it's so painful. And then some people just breeze through it. So
Mhm.
you can't, that's why when people ask me about it, I'm like, you can't just go by my experience because everybody with SMA
Definitely.
has a
Yeah.
different. And now they have the ports they're doing
Mm.
for people. I interviewed the girl that did the port the other day, and that's amazing too. She just goes in and doesn't even have to get out of her wheelchair. I'm like, that's amazing.
It is, yeah. I definitely wouldn't, if in the future these spinal lumbar punctures get difficult. Like, thankfully, I have a really good doctor. I go to the University of Texas Southwestern in Dallas.
Mhm,
And so I also know people that have had super bad experiences with that hospital, but
mhm,
I've always had a really good experience. I always ask for like the attending doctor to do my injection. So I had a resident do my second injection, and it was like possibly the worst one because it was
Oh,
like my spine was still healing from the first loading dose. And so
yeah,
I've learned to make injection day a lot smoother.
yeah,
But you just never know what's gonna happen that day. But I always try to have like a really positive attitude about it. Like I'll do meditation and I'll pray and I'll just
mhm,
pray over the doctor and the nurses and the technicians, and I'm just like, guide his hand today, please God.
yes, I know,
So, but even with all that, bad days could still come. But thankfully, this last time I got my injection in July, my doctor wasn't gone. My doctor was gone. And I was like, he's on vacation. Like, how selfish. Didn't he not know I was coming? But
yeah,
they had another attending doctor. And honestly, like, it was a miracle because I hardly even felt the lidocaine. I feel like the lidocaine is sometimes the hardest part because it burns
yes,
so bad.
yes,
And I
mhm,
hardly felt the lidocaine, and he was done in like a few minutes. And then I was able to
wow,
go, you have to rest for an hour. And then like I had absolutely no pain. And so I'm like, this doctor is like a magician or something because I
yeah,
honestly didn't even like I might have to switch doctors. Like I might have to tell my doctor, like, hey, you're fired. Bring me
yeah,
the other doctor. But they do have really good doctors there. So it's worth the
doctors.
drive every time.
Oh, wow, yeah, see, the place I have to go to Baton Rouge, which is like 3 hours from where I live.
Yeah.
And there's only one doctor that does it.
Mhm.
So, and there's a lot of us now. So, if he's out or whatever, we have to kind of work around his schedule. And so, whenever I schedule, I just kind of have to take what they can give me and then just work our schedule around it. But thankfully, it's only every 4 months. So, it's not too bad.
Yeah. It was where we would make it a trip, like we would stay the night before and then I'd go get my injection the next day. But thankfully I have medical transportation. So medical transportation they come and pick me and my mom up and take us to the hospital. So we don't have to do any driving or anything like that because
Oh,
driving to the Dallas area is pretty stressful. And then
yeah,
my mom has a really hard time driving my van because of because of the steering wheel. I have like zero effort steering. And
uh,
so she just gets nervous driving my van. So I'm like, whatever we have to do to get you to not drive my van and make it easier on all of us. So thankfully
it,
medical transportation is available for me and they take me and bring me back home.
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it's
really
definitely a
good.
blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we don't have that here. Well, I mean, we probably do in the bigger cities, but definitely not where we live. I live in
Yeah.
a smaller town, so we don't have that option. But so speaking of Esperanza, have you noticed since you've been on it, have you noticed changes with
I
you?
definitely I want to say that I've probably hit like a plateau with the injections now. Like I'm not getting any weaker, which is really good because I was going downhill pretty fast when I was 28. I had moved out of my mom's house for the first time.
Mhm,
I was in my apartment with my first apartment with my ex, and then like all of a sudden my body just started shutting down like really fast. It got to the point where driving was difficult, working was difficult. I couldn't really drive, like I couldn't write anymore because I couldn't hold a pen for more than like a few minutes. And there
mhm,
was a lot of writing involved in that job. And so I ended up having to quit. I quit. So Spinraza, what came out December 2016.
mhm,
I pretty much quit my job that January just because I couldn't fulfill the demands of that job anymore. And then so after I got Spinraza, like my first few loading doses and I started getting the maintenance doses, I did notice a change in
mhm,
just like my stamina and just like my ability to function a little bit easier. And so I was able to keep a lot of like I was able to keep the things that I still can do.
mhm.
And right now, like I said, I don't feel like I'm getting any stronger, but I am definitely not getting any weaker anymore. And I'm still able to drive and, to do the things that I'm still able to do to help me feel a little bit independent. And I do think it had a lot to do with the medication.
Yeah, and do you feel like right after you get it, do you feel like you have more energy and
Yeah, I'm
stamina?
like, I got my juice, I got my next injection. So yeah, I definitely feel
Yeah,
it.
me
And I
too.
know like that they talk about the Spinraza slump and like that's for real because
Mhm,
I'm at it started where like I don't start feeling it. I usually started feeling it like at the 3rd month mark, but
mhm.
now it's like a few weeks before my next injection is when I really start like slugging down. So right now I got it in June and my next one's in November. So
Yeah,
like at the beginning of November, I'll start feeling really bad. And then it's like one of those things where I forget, that I guess I'm so used to it and I'm like, why do I feel like this?
I
And then it's
know.
like, oh yeah, I remember now. I got to get my next dose.
I know, that's how I am. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Is something wrong, you know?
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm feeling good right now. I got mine 2 weeks ago. So
Oh, nice.
so yeah, I was ready. I was definitely ready to get it. So actually me and Harley were there the same day. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So that was awesome. I got to see her for a little while.
Yeah, she's so
But
awesome. I love
I
her.
know,
So
I
sweet.
know. So what is the one thing you would like to advocate the most for the SMA community?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me think.
Mhm,
Advocate most. I think that whenever I go, I think just putting ourselves out there and
mhm,
just letting people know that we're people too and
mhm.
that our lives matter and that our like our that we need to be treated with the same respect and how everybody else wants to be treated. I feel like I've been people have looked down upon me so many times because of my physical disability. And so to me, just going out and having as much of a life as I can is just a way for me to just spread that awareness. And I love it when people ask me, I don't like it when they ask me what's wrong with me, but I do appreciate when they ask, questions and like don't be scared of to approach me and don't be scared to let your kids approach me.
Yeah,
That's my number one thing. Like, I remember I had a friend and we went to visit him, and he's like, So just so you know, I told my kid not to talk to you, not to look at you, not to
I
ask you
know.
questions." And I'm like, I'm not trying to tell you how to raise your kid, but you're gonna make him scared of me.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're setting him up to be terrified of me because you're telling him not to talk to me, not to do this, not to do that. And so I'm just like, that's not, I don't, I want to teach parents that it's okay to ask questions. It's okay. Kids
Yes,
are just curious.
I know.
Um,
I
and so
know.
pretty much that's just it. Like I just like to advocate for as much, I think that we're so limited to the independence that we can have. And so whatever you can do to make your life easier, like I said, I have my whole kitchen, like I have a little kitchenette set up here in my bedroom where
Mhm.
I have like all my stuff available where like if I want to make my coffee or, just I've learned to adapt throughout my life on this earth. And
Yeah.
I think that that's just some people, sometimes we get into these mental states
Mhm.
where we just feel defeated and overcome and just overcoming just seems like a thing that we can't do. And I think that mental health is a big aspect of that too. So I'm a big advocate for mental health, especially with the disabled community.
Yeah.
I know sometimes like I have a psychologist right now and he's able-bodied,
Mhm.
but I tell my psychologist or my therapist, whoever I'm working with, I'm like, look, I know that you probably have never dealt with someone that has SMA before,
Yeah.
but the anxiety, the depression, all the things that come with just being a person that deals with mental health. I definitely think that, I'm like, you studied how to help that, it's not so much the person, it's more of the stuff that they struggle with. So I'm like, if you could just help me work through my struggles, like I appreciate it. And
Mhm.
I know sometimes mental health care can be scary and intimidating, or like, what if you get a bad therapist? Well, try again. It's important to keep trying and to try to figure out what you can do to put you in your best mental state to be
Yeah.
to live life and just keep kicking butt.
and to figure it all out.
Mhm, definitely.
Yeah, and that was one thing I loved about the conference because, like, we could go into sessions and we could all talk and we all understand each other,
Mhm,
you
exactly.
know? And
Yeah.
that was to me what was, I love that part of it. And obviously, we have a great life coach in the SMA community.
Mhm, definitely.
Amber, she's
Mhm.
amazing.
She really is, yeah. It's
She
definitely it takes reaching out to people like that, if you're not
Yeah,
comfortable with an able-bodied person or,
mhm,
you want someone that shares your struggles. I mean, people like her are really making waves in the community and, making a way for people to just learn how to be comfortable with themselves and just accept. I think that's one of the things that I've definitely struggled with the most is like I've been disabled my whole life and sometimes the accepting parts or
mhm,
letting go of that control or letting go of the things that I can't control go, is one of the things that I probably deal with the most. But yeah, definitely reaching out to the community, people like Amber, again, like she's
yeah,
doing amazing things in the community. And just having friends, I think within the community really helps
yeah,
because I went to MDA camp for a lot of years growing up. So I probably went to Muscular Dystrophy Association camp for like 17 years of my life. And so there I was able at least once a year have that community and have that connection with friends and
mhm,
not to feel so alone.
yes,
Like you're the
yeah,
only one. And
I
so
know,
I love that about Cure SMA. Like I had been trying to go to that conference for years and years and years. And
I
so I was so blessed to be able to go last year. And then I think you and I met through like a Cure SMA virtual event or through friends of friends. And I think that's
yeah,
just that's the important part of the community is just connecting with those people and
I
reaching
know,
out. And so again, and what you're doing is super amazing. And it's, I really appreciate what you're doing for the community. And I really appreciate you reaching out to me. And
well, thank you.
yeah.
Well, y'all all inspired me at the conference, so I was so glad to have you and Harley and, these people who had experienced it before me, because and then we all hung out a lot. Y'all introduced me to so many more people that I had not met yet, you know. So I know it was an amazing experience. Like people ask me like, what did you learn? And I'm like, well, I mean I learned some. I did, don't get me wrong, but it's more the connection, like you said, of the community because we learn from each other, you know? So,
Exactly. Yeah.
um, yeah. So definitely if you want to share this video, like I will save it to my YouTube
Okay.
page. So like if
Yeah.
your friends or family didn't get to watch it live, they can go back and watch it anytime.
Awesome.
And yeah, and please have them share it because, like I said, we're trying to advocate and get people educated about SMA and different types of SMA. And if they feel like donating, there's a link on the post, and any donations greatly appreciated. All the money helps towards research and the wonderful conference we were just talking about. They could definitely not have that without all the fundraising money for sure.
Exactly.
So, um, so yeah, but it was great talking with you today.
Definitely, yeah. I really enjoyed chatting with you. Again, thank you so much for this opportunity. And yeah, those donations really go a long way, right? Because I can't even imagine what it costs like to put an event so big like the conference.
I know,
Um, and it's awesome that they have those scholarships available for people because without those, like it would be really hard for someone that's like on a fixed income to be able to
yeah,
make the trip. And even then it's still difficult. But the way that QRSA moves in the community and just gets people together it's really awesome. And
yeah,
so yeah, I love my SMA sisters and brothers and I just love again connecting with y'all. So this time has been super fun. And again, thank you so much. And I'll definitely will make sure to share once you get that link out there. And yeah, I look forward to see what else you do and what all the
uh,
amazing things that are gonna come from this.
well, I look forward to seeing what you do too. So,
Yeah, I need to get my butt into gear before Jose Torres chews me out.
yeah, we'll have to tell them we talked about him in this video.
Right, right. We
About
just tag all the people that got
that.
mentioned in this
Oh,
podcast.
I know, I know. Well, I will be praying for you too, and hopefully things get better for you. I hope you get everything figured out. I know that's a
Thank
lot
you.
of decisions to make, so
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it, and I will take all the prayers I could get because I
yeah,
know God knows I need them because
I
life
know.
is just challenging right now, but it's okay.
I know. Well, hopefully it will get better for you.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
well, all right. I will talk to you later.
All righty, sister. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.